I'm sure there's a buck in here named Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy. We're starting to get some of these bucks back now. For all you guys going hunting, good luck to all you. Hope you get the biggest buck of your life, man.
We're there, boys. We've made it. It's shaping up to be one of my better hit lists that I've ever had, and the Homestead's definitely going to play a big role in that.
What's up, everyone? My name is Brandon, and I am the new guy here at Midwest Whitetail.
Can you beat it? 0 to 60, man. Whoa, what can you say about that? An absolute dream buck. He's down right there, baby. Let's go.
He's down right there. Dude, you freaking did it. Oh, man.
Insane night. Season on, game on.
Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Midwest Whitetail. As always, really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And if you're anywhere in the Midwest, it's an exciting time. We are finally only 2 days away from the opener here in Iowa for bow season. And though the forecast might not reflect what we would hope to see, we still get to get in the woods, and there's nothing that's going to beat that. On this week's episode, we're going to kick it off by joining and catching up with Owen Riegler, who has got some really awesome bucks to talk about. We're going to catch up on some projects he's been doing. And then most importantly, he's going to kind of break down the first week of archery season, how he plans to tackle it, and some of his recommendations to navigate the heat. From there, we're going to join new team member Brandon Quandt. As I mentioned on last week's show, Brandon's a great friend of mine, and you're going to get a first look at just how cool of a guy he is. He's got a great story, very, very rooted deep into the hunting culture, and is great at storytelling when it comes to big bucks. So we're very lucky to have Brandon on the team here at Midwest Whitetail. I'm excited for you guys to get a chance to get to know him. And then, like Owen, he's going to talk about some of the bucks he's got on camera. And then to wrap up the show, we're going to jump over to Zach Rausmus, who's going to give a big update. If you guys didn't follow along in the off season, he sold Area 52. He's been working tirelessly at his new place that he is calling the Homestead, and he also has some awesome bucks to take a look at. So it's a little bit of strategy for opening day. It's a little bit of bucks and what to expect. And I would be remiss if I didn't also bring to attention how great of a past few days we've had here for Midwest Whitetail's team. This weekend was action-packed despite the heat. We're going to be bringing you a midweek episode with the Reed family, both Bella and Bryn. They went out on the home farm with Mike and Rye. And to say they had the evening of a lifetime would be a huge understatement. 2 bucks within 20 minutes of each other. And I'm really excited to bring that episode your way. And then also last night, I was able to sneak out with a good buddy of mine, Casey Maxted, and his son Luke, and we were able to have some success as well. So be on the lookout for that show upcoming this week. And then, finally want to bring attention to the Midwest Whitetail Regional Series. There was a really awesome hunt that if you didn't get the chance to check it out, I'd really appreciate it if you guys did. One of my best friends, Collins Marine, his son Cooper shot his biggest buck to date. And again, as excited as we are for bow season, you really cannot just beat a good youth hunt, passing it along to the next generation, seeing those smiles. So no matter how you support Midwest Whitetail, we really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. We're going to join Owen now.
6/10 of an acre right there. All plots are in. We've got a bunch of mowing to do. We're gonna knock back the weeds so we can get our last spraying in on our clover and alfalfa. There we go. Just like the old Wenzel boys. There we go. We're ready to sight that bow in and get to shooting a lot. We got some big deer out there we're gonna have to go after, so we gotta keep up on this.
You got the heavy one?
Oh, you bet.
All right, can we go to work now?
Yeah, can we? What's the holdup? Look at this natural vine right here. We've got a grapevine. All we gotta do is cut it, put our camera on it, and we're rolling. Right down the fence line. Little opening there, little opening here. I love it.
Edge, baby.
Oh, yeah. Right there, right? Big boy, big boy. Gosh, we just need a rain. All of our plots will be perfect if we catch a rain. Clover looks good. We just mowed it. So if you're somebody that likes to mow your clover to freshen it up before the season, my experimenting says about 30 days before the start of your season is what you want. You know, October 1st opener, be 8 to 12 inches tall probably. All right, we're up in the stand we just hung here in this cottonwood. I'll give you guys a view here. It's pretty. It's a good one to film out of, good one to shoot out of. Here's a little spot right here in my food plot that I didn't spray on purpose, trying to be a good steward of the land. You can see this is a waterway right here. You know, it angles both directions, so that'll wash out right in the middle of that if you spray that. So we don't need any more erosion around here. We got plenty of that. Yeah, I'm sure there's a buck in here named Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy. I'm sure he's in here. The countdown is on. So we get in here, we're completely hidden now. Nothing can see us. I mean, unless they're laying right off the trail, but chances of that are pretty slim. About as good an access as you can get. So the whole reason we're doing this is we wanted to be able to bow hunt this plot. The DW8 is up here. He was last year too. This is where Devin filmed him right here. They get moving around a little bit. They could be in bow range, no problemo. Man, I remember some of those hunts with my dad when I was a kid. I remember the first buck I ever shot. I come out there and he was rolling on the ground there. He was done, you know, and I started hollering for my dad. Oh, Dad, I got him. I didn't know where he was. He was a couple hundred yards away. Here he come, busting out of the timber, running. So a lot of fond memories right there. And so that's what I get out of these hunts with the youth. It brings me back to my youth when I was hunting as a kid, and probably does for all of us. So that's the awesome part of watching these regional shows with all the youth hunts on them. I love that side of it. We're starting to get some of these bucks back now. We've had a few of them. You know, Genesis we talked about a little bit early. He's been pretty sporadic, maybe a picture every 10 days or so. And so he's not high up on the radar right now. Wait till he gets a little more consistent and we'll go after him. We've got that Wide 9 Junior. This is his best rack. He's probably a 7-year-old deer. Could be a year older. But this is his best rack. Some others we got, if you remember when we were hunting late season with Joe, we filmed some nice deer and passed them. Well, that Joe Noble 8 is back, and that is a toad of an 8. Big boy. He will be on the list. If we get a crack at him, it'll be full send. The other one, actually, we're setting up this rubbing post, the entrance right there with the blind. Now, we used to have a tree stand in that cottonwood right there, but we noticed this spring when we were trimming it out, it was split right down the middle of the trunk. And so I felt like it was getting kind of dangerous. It was time to move from that tree, so we ended up putting this blind here, which sets up better for any kind of west wind, better for bow hunting. We can cover this whole plot. It's probably from one edge to the other is maybe 40 yards across this. This plot right here and this setup is for the DW8. That's the Devin Wills 8. He filmed him out of that redneck right there the day before the last day of the season. He popped out in this corner and worked around down here. But he's still around. And we've got a buck that we were calling, I was calling him Tall 10. They renamed him Fraser. That was per Rye's decision. Tall 10 was fine with me, but we ended up naming him Fraser, so that's another buck we'll be after. What else we got? Oh, the 6x6. Now that's a deer that I am going to target early. This deer I've been calling the 6x6, which he's a 6x5 this year. But he just doesn't look healthy. Every time I see a picture of him, he looks like he's skin and bones, which is obviously a bad sign. So I think we need to target that deer, see if we can get him. Because my guess is even if he survives this year, he's going to go downhill. The first few days, I don't even know if I hunt. They're forecasting like low 80s. I don't get too excited to hunt in that kind of weather. At this point in time, I mean, when I was a kid, I was probably hunting anything. 150 degrees, I'd be out there. But anymore, I kind of wait till the time's right and then pounce. Now, if I was going to hunt the first couple of days of season, even the first week, I would be hunting places like little food plots like this here, and even smaller, more secluded stuff. I have a lot of stuff set up like that, what we call kill plots. And you know, the main thing about those is they always got cover around them. This time of year, a lot of times your bucks will be bedded fairly close to where they're feeding, along with your does and fawns and whatever. But you know, later in the year, it seems like they travel farther away from that stuff. They want to get away from all the commotion and the does and the fawns. But right now, I want to be in a little hidey hole kill plot with some food and obviously a lot of cover right around it. Hopefully he's bedding close. If you've been running your cutty backs, you know he's right there hitting it in daylight, or maybe he's been there a couple times in daylight. And then for me, I'm just gonna wait for a trigger. I want a little cool down. If you go from 85 to 75, maybe a switch in wind direction. That's all I'm really waiting for. And that's enough for me, even if I don't have a daylight picture to go hunt. Because that'll be the time he'll move and you'll get the daylight picture. But if you're not there, well, what good was that? So those are the places I'll be hunting. Keying in on greens like these. So our beans just went kind of cold, you know, after they defoliate, turn yellow. They go kind of cold, but when you got a plot like this, it's got this much green in it, they'll still be right there a lot of times. Looking forward to the season, just waiting for some cooler weather. It might be 3 or 4 days into season before I get out, but I will be out. You guys will know about it, of course. I've got my chase video going. I don't know if that's going to be weekly this year or daily, but it'll be one of the two, so you guys are more welcome to follow along right there. For all you guys going hunting, all you youth hunters out there, good luck to all you. Hope you get the biggest buck of your life, man.
What's up, everyone? My name is Brandon, and I am the new guy here at Midwest Whitetail. I got to meet Owen this past year at the annual River Farm Shed Hunt, and a few weeks later got to spend a few more days with him and a couple of the other main guys at the Iowa Deer Classic. And great group of guys, created some great friendships already, and I can't wait to see how some of their seasons unfold. So I am from Southern Illinois. I work on a farm with my family, with my dad, uncle, and cousin. Also, I'm a seed sales rep. I got a family of 5. I got 3 kids. I got Elias, Elena, and the newest addition this past month is Brooklyn. So got a wonderful wife, Bethany, who lets me hunt all the time, and I got to give a shout out to her, because without a great significant other, it makes hunting a lot tougher, and that's what we really love to do as a family, and spend time in the outdoors together. And once the work and all the stuff of harvest is done for the fall, we love to go deer hunting. So as far back as I can remember, I've always had a passion for deer hunting. I can remember sitting in a tree stand at 6 or 7 years old with my dad. Him drawing his bow back and releasing an arrow on a doe was just so exciting and such an adrenaline rush. And that's really my first memory that I can recall that got me hooked on deer hunting. And that, with countless hours of sitting on the couch in the living room watching Monster Buck DVDs with him. We always used to play a game where we would guess the score of that buck before it would show it after the harvest, and that was always fun on seeing who would win. Taught me a lot about deer. And 2004 was able to harvest my first deer during that gun season, and he happened to be a blind buck, and everyone was always giving me crap that when I got it back from the taxidermist, he was going to have sunglasses and a cane. 2 years later, was able to shoot my first deer with a bow, and I practiced so hard. I remember practicing so much, and went out one evening, and the very first arrow I shot at an animal was this little forky, and I happened to kill it. So I was super pumped about that. Ever since then, just had a love for bow hunting, and had a lot of new bow hunter struggles, just like everyone does, learning. And in 2016, ended up shooting my biggest buck to date, and I killed this deer on the ground at 10 yards, and it was really the spark that started wanting to get into filming. And I had all these great stories that I was going back and telling my family and my friends, and so I started filming that next year and absolutely hated it. I filmed a few times, didn't have a method of how to set up or tear down, and just was taking a lot of time. It took the fun out of it. So when COVID came around, my buddy Jack was home from college in 2020, and we decided that since he was home and had some extra time, we were going to start filming each other. And so turkey season of 21 was going to be our trial. And so that first year turkey hunting, we had a lot of success. Ended up editing a few videos together that probably won't ever see the light of day, but got good enough to where we thought that fall we would start our YouTube channel called Killing It, and was very fortunate to shoot my first deer self-filming that October and produce a video called Beams. Weeks later in November, was able to have Jack with me. We were after the deer that I called the typical 12 and ended up killing him behind a homemade decoy out in the middle of a cornfield. And that was really the video that kind of started to blow up a little bit. So I'm excited to be here. We film a lot together as a family. I film my dad sometimes, I'll film Jason sometimes. Jason has a camera of his own. He's got 3 kids that he likes to film. Brayson got his first bow this year, so excited to see him try bow hunting out. He's got a daughter that loves to hunt too, Jalen, and she killed her first deer a couple of years ago, so they're just ate up with hunting, and we love to go on recoveries together and rewatch these videos as a family, and it's a fun time for us to relax and enjoy, God's creation. So I took Elias on his first deer hunt 2 years ago, and he enjoyed it. Last year we went on a couple other deer hunts, and he loves eating deer sticks, and I told him, well, if we need more deer sticks, we're gonna have to go shoot a doe. And I was more nervous shooting that doe than shooting a big buck. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because I was trying to get that done for him. It was his first hunt. Hopefully it might be his, one of his first experiences like I had with my dad in the tree stand of shooting his doe with me. And so he's excited. I know he's chomping at the bit to shoot his first deer with the bow, so hopefully maybe we can get that done this fall. This is actually the deer that I wanted to find the sheds to this year over here, the #1 deer. I call him Edgar because this is Area 53 over here. And if you guys watch Men in Black, the first alien that they went after, his name was Edgar the Bug. So you see it? There we go, look at that. Holy crap. It's a freaking giant. I think it's him. It's him.
It's gotta be him.
Oh my gosh, here he is. That is the big brow buck.
I got it.
Ready, set, go. Hey, it's gonna be worth it when you shoot a deer. All this work, promise. Do you guys want to name him?
Poe.
Poe? Think that's a good name?
Princess.
Princess?
I think I just found Edgar. I was talking about waiting for him to come out in that wheat field that I was set up on, and came around the corner and he's standing out here about 400 yards.
What are we doing tonight?
We're going to look for big deer.
Going to look for some big deer, huh? So I got a few different targets that I'm hunting this year back here on the home plot behind the farm. I got a deer that we call Willie. He's a 10-pointer that was a 4-year-old last year. He was there early velvet season, haven't seen him much. I know that he summers somewhere else, but he usually comes back here closer to fall. Got a deer that we call Dennis, which is what me and Elias were scouting for the last few times we've been out, and just got pictures of him. Other than that, we're still waiting on the deer that we named Poe. He was a split G4 buck last year. Haven't given up hope on him yet, but hopefully Poe will show up. Then we'll hop over to Area 53. This is the ground that I bought a couple of years ago. First piece that I've ever bought for hunting, and I've really tried to manage it well, and we've transformed it here. We did a select cut, did the invasive spraying, and hopefully really turning that property into a deer paradise. But got 2 deer over there that I'm focused on. One of them is called Edgar. I got quite a bit of velvet footage of him so far this year. That's a deer that we had history with in the past. Dad passed him last year, I passed him last year. He's actually was a 5-year-old last year, but he broke off a G2. So we decided to give him another year. Really good mature deer, excited to go after him this year. He's been showing up quite a bit on camera at Area 53. saw another buck that I think we called the High Rag 9 last year, and he's a 10-pointer this year, and I have yet to get very good footage or a good trail camera picture of him. Got a piece of property here to the north that we call the Strip that I'm getting some pictures of, a 7-year-old deer that we called Strong Side. He's always been very elusive. He always leaves, he's always here early, and he always leaves beginning to mid-October. So hopefully we can get an opportunity to get him on pattern. I finally got the fall plot in up there at the Strip. We've been extremely dry with the drought, and we got some rain forecasted this past week. So I went in there, worked up the fertilizer, and got some one plot ASAP in the Strip. So hopefully that, along with some of that big ag field of corn there, we can maybe keep him a little bit longer, might get an opportunity at him. Also got another really cool deer on camera that we're gonna put on the hit list that I don't know from last year. He's a really good framey 8-pointer, good browse. Excited to have 2 good bucks up there for an opportunity at. Another property that I'm really excited about, we call the Creek, and this is where I had that stock in the beans last year with the big brow buck. And I've had history with the big brow buck for 3 years now. I put a fall plot in this year where I thought he was headed to and coming from the most. So hopefully that will be the deciding factor of maybe getting a good opportunity at him, getting him on pattern, but have yet to see big brow. So the last piece that I want to talk about, we call it Prairie, and that's where I just finished up with the last couple of days. It's a big ag field that kind of horseshoes around in this certain spot, and we always leave that horseshoe for a food plot, and this year it's beans. Went in there this past couple of days and put some overcast in there, so hopefully that'll help with keeping some deer in there early and late. Looking into October 1st, the deer that has been most prevalent has probably been Egger, so probably going to start out on Egger unless something else starts popping up on more of a pattern. But he's been there last year he was in there a bunch early, and so I'm expecting him hopefully to be in there a bunch this year early as well. So strategy wise, this early season I'm really going to be focused on camera placement over some of the green plots and water holes. We just had that rain after a long period of being dry, so that monster buck that I spread right before the rain is going to be coming up nice and green. It's going to be a big draw on some of those deer. We're starting into that fall shuffle, so anything could pop up now. I'm starting to get new bucks every single evening, and just paying attention to cameras and making decisions based on the most patternable deer. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm excited to be a part of Midwest Whitetail. It's a great group of guys, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Next, we're headed over to Zach, and I've got to know Zach over the last couple of months, and we became really good friends. And much like my landowner journey, his landowner journey at the Homestead is a fun one to watch. He's got a lot of cool projects going on, and it'll be exciting to see some of the bucks that he's chasing this year.
Ponds here. Eventually, hopefully this water level's sitting right about there. And then all of this will probably be food. So anything on a northerly wind blowing towards here, shooting it over top of the pond. Well guys, we made it. It's the final gear up to hunting season, and you know, we're knocking off those last projects. Blake and I are down here on the Homestead tonight. Just got done hanging a set, and then we marked off where we're actually gonna leave late season food down here on the Homestead. So it's really gearing up, and I think I really speak for the entire pro staff when I say, you know, welcome Brandon. I mean, it's been a seamless transition to add him to the team, and he's become a great friend of mine already. He's somebody that I've followed his story for a number of years now. It never fails that he's always on big deer, has great storylines, he's always laying down some incredible footage. So he's been a great addition to the team. I remember meeting him at the shed hunt, you know, down there on Mike's farm, and then during the summer meeting, and it's just been a seamless transition. And I've had a lot of relatability to his story over the years, and you know, just him being a young landowner, working through the trials and tribulations of what that looks like. Really looking forward to seeing how that transpires, and you know, just working our way up to 2025. So on today's episode, we're talking a lot about what our hit lists are looking like, and just, you know, leading into the 2025 season. And when I think about me leading into 2025, you know, this is something that it's all about change. You know, there's a lot of new stuff going on right now, and I'm trying to figure it all out. At times I feel like I'm drinking through a fire hose, trying to obtain as much information as I can right now. But if you didn't follow along with the off-season, episodes, I sold Area 52. That was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my entire life. That was a farm that I have a lot of sentimental value to. We were able to transfer into a property that I'm calling the Homestead. It's been a great opportunity so far. I laid out a lot of goals that I had early on for the property. And as we sit here right now at the end of September, I feel like I'm working towards, and I've achieved some of those goals. One of my goals was I wanted to put food on the property. This property had never really been managed for wildlife specifically. It's an agricultural farm, there's CRP associated with it, but I wanted to incorporate food for wildlife. And I think I can definitely check that box. I've added approximately 3.5 acres of food, and that doesn't include the standing grain that we're gonna leave here. So, that's a lot of food for wildlife, and that's something that was really important from day one. And I think another thing I've made a big step towards is controlling some of the invasives on this property. That's something from the timber component. There's so much tonnage when it comes to food, bedding, cover, all those items that goes along with the timber. And there's areas of this farm down here that needed to have the reset hit. And with the pond project we have going over there on the shotgun plot, we've talked about that a little bit. Knowing that I'm not done by any means, I'm really proud of where we're sitting on those items, and continuing to go in is just continuing to learn this property. Every single time I'm down here, I feel like I learned something new, and that's gonna be a big theme that you're gonna hear a lot this season. With this being a new property to me, one of the things I'm gonna really take into strong consideration is that there's a margin of error, right? I don't have a substantial amount of trail camera history. I've never hunted on this property. I know a little bit about the neighborhood through research that I've done, neighbors that I've made relationships with at this point. I remember saying over on the burn plot, shotgun plot earlier this year when Brian and I were down here on the Homestead, that based on everything that this property had to offer, the open areas, the agricultural, the timber, the creek bed that sits on the north side, I felt really confident that the deer hunting from an age structure was going to be better year one from what I was walking into originally at Area 52, because Area 52 got better and better over time. And I can say now that I think that that's true. I'm very fortunate that there's some really good age class to work through, except there's a lot of assumptions that I'm gonna make that if there's anything that I think that they're a borderline 4-year-old, I'm gonna assume that they're a 4-year-old. And I'm gonna base my ideology on body size, what they do for behavior on trail camera, behavior in person, observations, what that can look like. And one of the bucks that's gonna be right at the top of that list is a buck that I'm gonna call Jin. He's a big 9-pointer, incredible frame on him. Reminds me of that buck that I called T-Bone that I had on Area 52. And he's a cool one. He's one that I'm looking forward to spending some time in the tree going after. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, I think he's gonna spend a lot of time on the farm, especially with me having a lot of food. The next buck is a buck I call Sauron. And you're gonna notice a theme, a lot of random characters from shows, TV shows. Just a tall, gnarly rack deer with big old brows on him. It seems like that's a feature that we have over here at the Homestead, a lot of tall tine deer, and he's a really cool one. He's really started to fill out his body size. He's gonna be one when he comes in that he's gonna look like a true giant just based on what his frame looks like and his tine length. And then last for the mature deer down here on the Homestead right now, it's always subject to change, right? Is a buck that Blake and I just come up with a name for today. It's a buck we call Mr. Krabs. And just seemed to fit. Him and I were, going back and forth. He's got little crab claws right at the end of his main beams, and that kind of wraps up where things sit right now. I think it's going to change. I really do believe that. There's bucks that aren't here right now that are definitely going to move in. And then last on that hit list is a buck that I have a lot of history with, and trail camera history specifically, is a buck I call Two-Face, and that's on a permission piece that I have. It's a buck that's changed substantially as rack year after year, but a huge body, Clydesdale, Angus bull, huge body deer. Really looking forward to spending some time hunting that deer this year because I've never done that before in the past. I haven't dedicated a lot of time hunting him specifically, even though he's been pretty regular on that farm. So it's shaping up to be one of my better hit lists that I've ever had, and the Homestead's definitely gonna play a big role in that. Now let's talk about my strategy for October 1st. Really just that first part of October too. I'm gonna talk about that first week. I'm sure that a lot of the guys are gonna say the same thing. Green food source is gonna be king, transition areas going to green food sources, and water, ultimately. But really think about how you're accessing these stand locations or, blind locations. That's more important right now than ever. Don't burn out your best spots early in the season. Access is king. And there's two different locations, one of them being the shotgun plot down here and one of them being the central plot, that have a combination of a lot of those items. You know, the shotgun plot is the stand location that we just got done hanging tonight. It has a water source right there, there's cereal grains, and then it also has no huddle right out in front of it. So you have a combination of all those items with, on top of that, there's a nice stand of clover sitting right there. So there's a combination, but the most important thing is access. There's an easy access right out the back door for that stand location. I don't have a necessarily specific deer that I'm targeting, but more or less I just want to get out there and have that symbolic hunt. I love getting out there on October 1st, setting the tone, going through the motions, and truly anytime you spend in the outdoors is special. I try to learn something every single time I come in the outdoors, and even if I'm sweating like crazy in hot southern Iowa weather, it's still worth it to be able to do that. So that's gonna be my strategy for opening season this year. It's really not any different than most years when it comes down to it, because I don't have a specific buck that's getting patterned at this point. But you know, there are definitely times where definitely be looking at your trail cameras this time of the year, because early October can be one of those times, especially if you have a good green food source. Bucks will do the same thing night after night after night. But we're there, boys. We've made it. We made it to this point, and this will be the last show that really comes out before season kicks off here in Iowa. Really looking forward to what the 2025 season's gonna bring. But I do want to just tell everyone good luck. You know, ultimately, every single core memory that you make in the outdoors is something that you're going to carry with you for your entire life. Take advantage of every opportunity to get in the outdoors, spend time with family, friends, and I can't thank you enough for following along on Midwest Whitetail. I think that this is going to be a special season, 2025, and really looking forward to bringing this season to you guys.